Gonna give this another couple seconds. Because that says live. Rosella, could you check to see if I'm live? I don't trust my own computer to do this. Okay, I guess I'm live. Ah, okay, thank you. Oh, it was lying to me about my liveness. Okay, hello, Lauricia. I'm going to review more Eternal cards. I might at some point play 10 units with flying. Hello, Whimsicaran. I'm gonna get back to where I was in cards, my collection, filters, unowned, well, owned and unowned, non-premium, Omens of the Past, blue. Okay. For whatever reason, Cloud Snake Hatchling appears in Omens of the Past packs. I've had this explained to me before that both Cloud Snake Hatchling and what is it? Direwolf Digital? That's not actually what it's called. What is Forge Wolf? Forge Wolf Digital? Yeah, Forge Wolf. Belonging to a set 0, which is why they appear in both set 1 and set 2. I don't accept that as an explanation, and I want a real one. But for the time being, you can open this in Omens of the Past packs. Nevertheless. We move on to Hearty Stranger, who's a, as you can see him, a 1/1. Strangers have +1. They don't actually appear in set 1, I am told. Okay, well, that's weird. Nevertheless, strangers have +1 health, so he's a 1/2 on his own, which is not a terribly interesting stat line, but paying 1 for it is about as cheap as that's ever going to get, so I suppose that's a thing. Making your strangers healthier tends to slow the game down, and I don't see this guy really fitting into the strangers deck at all, or any deck. I mean, I guess the fringe example of this guy is, you know, you're playing a draft and everybody has strangers because they're 2-mana 2/2s. So you just have to have a creature, but yours become 2/3s and can suddenly still trade 1 for 1 if everybody has a board full of strangers because it'll just double block. So no, I don't think this guy is quite it. He's kind of garbage. Moving on to Snowcrest Yeti, who is a 1-cost unit that's actually quite good. Just like right next to, also at uncommon, or green. Notable 1-power 2/1s in the game include Pyro Knight and Oni Ronin. So we know that this is a sort of safe cost for body in the game. And Aegis is very good. So, yeah. I can't wait to play against the deck that's like the Boggles deck from Magic the Gathering. That's just a bunch of Snowcrest Yetis and, wait, no, the green guy. Argenport Nonsense Man. Hold on. The little guy that this Yeti is a strict upgrade of. Steadfast Deputy. You poor jerk. You've been bumped off by a Yeti. Although I guess you're a common and the Yeti's an uncommon, so okay. Maybe that makes it make more sense. Let's go back to just Omens of the Past. Accept, and yeah. So it's not like Snowcrest Yeti is not like super amazing game-changing bomb, but he's quite good, and you're gonna see a lot of him. So that's Snowcrest Yeti. So next up is Weather the Storm. So a fast spell that says give a unit +4 health this turn. I didn't see this card. What the heck? Yeah, I'm as puzzled as the guys who appear in the illustration of this card. That is one burly freaking dude. Wow. And he has like a miniature dude behind him who looks kind of like me, actually. Right down to the bug eyes. It's like, look, there I am. He's missing the glasses.
Kaz in every game.
Yep. Yeah, the face that says, shit, I can't read. Well, while these guys are protecting themselves from the storm, I'm going to protect you from playing this card because this is like a worse version of Refresh. I get that it's cheaper, but man, Refresh was already kind of fringe. I kind of defend it as a playable thing because not only do you protect your guy, he keeps the toughness, so you can bolster it that way. And I'm gonna go ahead and call this out of character for Primal. This would be like in character for blue in Magic, but this does not make sense to me in Primal. Neither does the Stranger, really. Primal has direct damage. You know, it's about savagery and destruction. But also like shamanic wisdom and drawing extra cards, and yeah, I don't know. I don't think they can have it both ways. So I am frustrated that this spell exists. Moving on to Cloudsnake Breeder. This was a card that got spoiled kind of early compared to the others. He is way too happy to see that snake. Holy crap. Look at that dude. So, 2-mana 2/1 is not great. I mean, the 2/1s that we get in the game are generally like left behind by something, or they cost 1. So he doesn't cost 1. Double influence cost on a 2-cost creature is really heavy. So this is almost demanding mono primal. I'm not even joking. I guess like, okay, you play your banner and then you play your sigil, and it's okay. You still have like double primal on 2. It's not completely out of the blue, but in addition to that, you have to spark him to get anything out of him. So that's kind of a high bar. And he doesn't have his own flying, so it's not like you're getting a 3/3 of flying. What you are getting is a token. And so it has 3 power and health of units for 3 strength and health of units for 2 power is pretty good. So he's kind of garbage if you cannot spark him. I guess the restrictive cost makes sure that you don't play him early, so you spark him more often. It's kind of weird to think of a restriction as an upside, or preventing a drawback. I don't know. I don't think he's that great. He's probably fine. There are a lot of ways to deal 1 damage in this game. Snowball's primary among them. I mean, if you have pump effects, then like he's clearly amazing. Yeah, I don't know what to think about this guy just yet. So let's think about Dragon Breath, which is a plain old spell, 2 power. It's one of these mentor-student things. So I'll go ahead and hover over this so it shows mentor. You may exhaust one of your students as a student to get an extra effect. So I think they printed 1 card that cares about being a student, so that could matter, but for the most part it's just essentially exhaust this unit to do something, which is similar to tapping a unit to do something in Magic the Gathering. Where this is a one-sided fight. The student just hits somebody. So a 2 cost spell that taps one of your units had better do a lot of damage. Because if we compare this to something like, I don't know, Lightning Jolt or whatever that nonsense is, Static Bolt. Static Bolt. If you compare this to Static Bolt is 2 damage flat, and could possibly be 3, 4, whatever, depending on how many Static Bolts you play. So it has kind of a high upside. But this can often be Static Bolt with 2 cost for 2 damage, but at the additional cost of tapping a unit, which is why I say it has to deal like 4 or 5 before I'm interested in playing Dragon Breath. So I don't think this is like premium removal. I think it's definitely below that. I don't like it as much as Static Bolt. Maybe I like Static Bolt too much. Why can't I just have Static Bolt again? It's flavorful or something, I don't know. Your dude is breathing dragon onto the... which is apparently lightning. Okay. Next up is Maelstrom Bell, which I also have not seen before. Okay, 2 cost relic. Once per turn, you may pay 2 to increase the damage of the top damaging spell of your deck by 1. Whoa! I'm sorry, pay... For 2 cost a turn, I can eventually do 1 damage. Like, I admit that, like, changing your obliterate to say, like, deal 7, that sounds really cool. But you pay so much for this. Man, oh man. And what the heck? No! What they're trying to do is make, what are they called? Hold on, I'm looking at red for a sec. Where's fire? There's a 4-drop in fire. Where are you? Why can't I see? There you go. They're trying to make fire bombs actually good. So the fire bombs are a counter to Maelstrom Bell. I think a more effective counter to Maelstrom Bell is playing a regular game where you play units and attack your opponent with them, because this is not doing anything. This can't even, like, clear the board, you know? Like, if it was just a relic that said, pay 2 to deal 1 damage, that would be really good, because you could ping off 1 health units, you could, like, repeat this, like, both offensive, defensive presence. But this is just like making your big blowout game-ending spell bigger and more blowouty.
We're looking at the bell.
I am looking at the bell. Hello, Slyo9. I think this is super garbage. It is trash rubbish. I don't like it at all.
Honestly, the only real spell I want this to be pumping is Lightning Storm, so that it's a real, something like that. Or there's a card in the set that's just fire later, and that has that splits. That
splits. Okay, what about the one? I think they have one that's like 3 damage to everything or something, and that could be good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really think that you were super overpaying for this, and just the direct comparison to what I said, a relic that lets you like pay 2 to ping every turn, would be just better. I guess, yes, okay. It is not technically better when you're putting it on a lightning storm. But that's it. That's blah. Blah.
Right. Like you don't
pay 2 to do nothing. I hate it.
When you're war crying, you're attacking with something, right? Like
you are attacking with a unit, and dealing damage to something. Maybe your opponent. Maybe you're suicide attacking. Also, Warcry gives health. Like health or armor on a unit or weapon can be really game changing. That's an effect that's larger than just the extra point of damage or whatever. Anyway, next up is Mating Call, another rare. This one a spell. It costs 2 and says play all copies of the student from the top 10 cards of your deck, and it's a mentor card, so it exhausts the student. Now, pretty sure this is trash, but there was another card in Fire that we talked about long ago, and I mentioned that we would be talking about it again. And that card is On the Hunt, which is also a spell. So in a spell-heavy Stormcrag deck, you could cast a bunch of On Hunts, you're guaranteed to have like however many Hellhounds in the top 10 cards of your deck. And then you can exhaust one of them so it's not attacking, so you can get the other attacking. Okay, this is also bad, but it's like I feel like that's a best case scenario for this card.
The fact that Mentor exhausts is just so draining for making the cards worthwhile. Also,
for some of them, it makes sense. Like I think Dragon Breath kind of makes sense. Like, you know, your unit is now going after them. It's doing a thing. So that makes it feel okay. But for the ones where it's just like they get like health or whatever, like, oh, huh.
They gotta take time off. So, the other thing is, so mating hall here, unless you actually are actively doing some sort of combo, like you said, where you're controlling the top 10 cards of your deck, this card is never going to hit because you're playing 4x of a card in a 75 card deck, and you're only looking at the top 10 for the exact card you already played, so there's only 3 copies of it left in your deck.
Right.
Like,
and things like Grenaded Drone are not going to, or what the token that it creates.
Yeah.
It does hit Revenges, but Revenge is not in this faction. See, that's why I don't think this is real with Revenge. I mean,
yeah, like you have to be doing something to make it work, because playing this card blindly, or if you played it in draft, and I guess you drafted like 12 copies of the same card, but that's going to be really hard with 2 packs of one set and 2 packs of the other.
Like this is cute with Clockroaches, I guess, but you're already gonna have an army of Clockroaches. I don't know. This is a garbage spell. I would hate to open this. Next up is Talon Dive. It's a fast spell, give a unit +2/+2 and overwhelm this turn. So again, this, like Pummel, is basically only good on attacking creatures. Like Overwhelm only does something when you're attacking. But you're allowed to cast this one at other times.
Yeah, you can cast this as a trick blocking. So
yeah, this is like fine. I'm surprised that this is an uncommon. I guess they don't want like a whole bunch of tricks to be running around. It's like it's functional, I guess. This feels way more like a Magic card than like you could print this in like red in Magic.
Well, like we have Rampage we have Rampage in this game, and that's like almost the same card but without the flying restriction.
Yeah, the flying restriction makes this really rough. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I read this as give a unit flying +2/+2 and overwhelm, not give a flying unit. Oof.
Yeah, no.
You know, in some languages, those would mean the same thing. Like, okay. Anyway, but in English, the order of these words is important. So I'm gonna put this one in the dumpster too. Now that I've learned that. Okay, next up is Trailblaze. I guess we get a lot of 2-cost spells in Primal this time around. Which is fast spell. Look at the top card of your deck. You may put it on the bottom and then draw a card. To scry 1, draw a card. Fast spell.
Opt's cool.
President Arc disagrees because they don't believe in the English language. Okay. I accept I accept that disagreement. I guess Trailblaze is okay. I'm not super enthusiastic about playing a bunch of this.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a deck that like we want to be casting spells, like, you know, there's that Caldera.
Oh yeah, no, there was absolutely a deck that I made where I put literally every card that I possibly could that said draw a card on it, like on purpose. But and then I ran out. Like I even had empty spots in the deck, so this kind of helps that. But yeah, I'm not super enthusiastic about playing this in limited. And, you know, spells only constructed might do something. And as a fast spell at 2 cost in Primal means you can rep Second Sight, Backlash, not Lightning Strike most of the time, but sometimes.
Still looking at Trailblaze?
I am looking at Trailblaze. Hello, Gnome Bitten.
Oh, I'm Gnome Bitten.
I'm trying to think of all the other fast spells you could be repping at this.
Levitate?
I guess, yeah, it includes 1 cost, so you could be repping Levitate too. But I think Backlash is the big one, because that's the most important thing to try and figure out from your opponent's hand. But
I kind of wish this was Scry 2, but this is still a fine card.
Or like 1 power cost.
Well, at 1 power, it needs to not be a fast spell, because then... Because, like...
Scry 1 draw a card?
We're getting a little close to, like... There's a reason Ponder effects in Magic are all slow since Brainstorm.
Opt was an instant.
I suppose.
Okay. Well, we're moving on to Yeti Snow Chucker. It's a 2-power 2/2 with Reckless. I kind of want to stop reading now. But when he attacks, it deals 1 damage to the enemy player. So throws a snowball at him.
So he gets blocked, dies, and
deals 1 damage.
And deals 1 damage. How desperate are you to spark is the question this card is asking.
I have seen this card in literally every single Skycrag aggro deck. Because they're kind of desperate for we've talked about how Primal 2s are pretty desperate as far as like a slot goes.
That's really dreadful. I hope people stop doing that, because this is like throwing a card away. Like, if you want to throw a card away to deal 1 damage to your opponent, it should be like Vara's Favor, you know?
Yeah. In what format are you seeing this card, Jens?
Constructed.
Jeez,
they play it, and then torch my blocker I play on 2, and then on 4 it dies, but they play the double damage red card, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that guy I've been seeing.
But, any port in a storm, I suppose. I think this guy is kind of trash and very easily replaceable, but
Well, 75 card decks.
I know. So no, that's just it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is something that I've frequently been grumpy about in Eternal, where they're like, oh no, it's just deck diversity. It's like, well, no, it's not deck diversity. It's like, I've run out of cards that could possibly fit my plan, so I have to fill it with bad things to fill out your stupid 75 card deck.
It's like you start life playing 4x Seek Power at that point. Lay of the Land. Yeah, Lay of the Land.
Yeah, well,
what makes this card, like, what gives this card a bit of legs is that it is a spark enabler that, like, doesn't cost mana on the turn you attack. That's it.
I want this to be a 3/2, or hell, a 2/3.
Yeah, 2/3 would give him, like, some kind of existence, but
it would make him interesting.
Next up is Smiling Dragon. I mean, Cloud Snake Harrier.
Mm-hmm.
3 cost 3/3 flying with spell damage 1, which seems pretty good, frankly.
This card's rather strong. Part of me, I've said this before, but part of me wants this to be a 2-mana 2/2. But I think he is rather good as is.
I think it's better as a 3-mana 3/3.
Yeah, I'm happy with the comparison to Valkyrie Enforcer. It's like, Valkyrie Enforcer is one of the cards that's, like, very clearly excellent. You just look at it and you're like, oh my god, is this real? How is this so powerful? How does it have so many stats compared to everything that's even a little like it?
Oh, maybe if this thing were 2-mana 2/2, you wouldn't have to play Yeti Snow Chucker. But
yeah, maybe.
But I like him. He's good. Good snake.
Yeah, quite good.
Flyers are strong. Even in constructed, flyers are still very strong.
And then making your snowballs do 2 and torches do 4. Oh, he dies to your he dies to your lightning storm. It's kind of cute. But nah, he's kind of obviously good, so we're moving on. Cobalt Ring is next. Once per turn, you may pay 3 to draw a card, then discard a card.
What part of this is made out of cobalt? Because that's obviously like gold.
Yeah,
or
I don't know.
brass or something.
Yeah, and it's inset with like an
With a diamond.
amethyst or diamond or something,
Cobalt's like a metal.
or maybe glass.
Maybe
Oh,
the
maybe the
card itself is made out of cobalt.
the rim.
Yeah, like the actual relic.
Oh, I see.
It's made of cobalt. That's why it's blue.
Maybe there's a tiny etching that says cobalt on it, just the word. So you like look at it and you're reminded of cobalt.
It was made by a kobold.
Made by a kobold. Okay.
So there's a creature that does this that for cheaper, but is a creature. This is a relic that does this for a little more.
Well, Whispering Wind cannot draw you power.
I'm thinking Blind Seer.
Yeah, blind story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Blind Storyteller. I guess that dies more easily.
Yeah, relics are a little safer,
Yeah.
but his card,
Yeah, this is kind of worse than Blind Storyteller, isn't it?
it might get played in
Well-
some very loot-heavy decks.
The thing with blind storyteller is that if you're in the combination, like you're a little more liable to knock your own blind storyteller out with like a lightning
that's
storm. So
that's part of it, I guess. And also the fact that the Blind Storyteller, in the other direction, Blind Storyteller like uses a unit slot on the board, so you might want
yeah.
like something else. Then again, it can also turn into a Shimmer pack late game. So I don't know. I think I'm giving the nod to the other one and leaving Cobalt Ring in the jewelry cabinet for now.
Yes, I don't really ever want to play this card, but it's better than some other rings.
We're moving on to a grown-up Buster Bunny who's been living on the streets. Crafty Yeti,
Does not like broccoli.
who's a Yeti explorer. He is throwing away the broccoli. Is that what he's exploring for?
He's exploring for, I don't know.
This is okay. Little thing about like names and illustration and flavor and all that. What is crafty about jumping on someone's food pile and throwing it behind you?
What's he exploring? He's clearly a
Yeah.
Yeti. But the other part is...
What's
that
with
person in the background?
He's got
Oh,
like
no!
a bomber jacket on. He's a bomber
okay, here's
pilot.
what it is. It's just like how like the man is the explorer and Crafty is the Yeti.
Is Crafty?
Well, that's his name.
No. Crafty is the explorer. Yeti is just the Yeti. So they're together.
Oh, they're a buddy cop team.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a card
Who's
in
Crafty
Innistrad
Yeti?
that was
He's just some Yeti, is what you're getting at.
There was a card in Innistrad that's like 2 guys, and it's like a 3/2 destroy something, like destroy a vampire.
Well,
werewolf,
there was
zombie guy.
Tibor and Lumia, right? Way back in the day.
So like these are a team
So
together.
this is Crafty and Yeti.
Crafty and
You're thinking
Yeti.
the Slayer of the Wicked, I think.
Slayer of the Wicked. One of them was the Slayer, and the other one was the Wicked. Like there was a guy with a stick, and then there was just a guy.
Call me the
guy-
Wicked. Anyway, as far as the card goes, 3 on a 3/2 is not great. Spark to Loot is okay. This is not
This guy's-
life changing.
Yeah, he's solidly fine. I would not be sad curving into this guy. I wouldn't be great playing him otherwise, but if you're like you're getting the effect off and it fixes your hand up, he's okay.
I'm glad to see more looting in the game because of a deck that I have, which makes prominent use of Empty Throne, except 3s. Where's my 3s?
Is it Stone Scar Excavation? Because I ran into that deck today.
No, maybe.
They did 11 damage to me in 1 turn with their Stone Scar
that's cute.
Excavation.
No, I'm talking about
I'm
Privilege of Rank,
Ah,
which you play when you discard it,
Yeah.
which also gives you more stuff to discard. It's kind of disgusting with those cards.
Yep.
strong card. Gives
Anyway.
Ogre something to do. Yeti is fine. I like
Yep.
Yeti well enough.
I don't like the Yeti. There, I said I don't like the Yeti. That's it.
Jins doesn't like the Yeti.
Well, I don't think there are a lot of blue 3s to really compete. Like what?
Well,
We get a worse weight veteran explorer.
Yeah, like the one directly to the right of it is foot.
How about the one 2 cards to the left of it that was a 3/3 flyer for 3?
At rare! At rare! Come on!
Like here's 2 commons.
It's a common!
You have the 3 mana 3/2 with an ability versus a 3 mana 2/3 with no ability.
Man, not even like a relevant creature type either. Like explorer.
It is better than it is clearly better than Foothills Alpha in relative terms, but also it's worse than anything else in relative terms. I just don't want to be casting Crafty Yeti.
I'd put it on par with many of the 3 mana 3/3s that might have a keyword.
I don't, because if it wasn't Spark, I would. But the fact that it is conditional looting makes it like.
I suppose.
Like as far as playable 3-cost units in Primal, you have Cobalt Acolyte, who can much of the time be way worse than Crafty Yeti. Ice Sprite, which is again an uncommon and vaguely playable. Icebreaker, which is also an uncommon and almost not playable at all. Sky Snapper's fine. Tundra Explorer's fine.
Storm Crasher is an amazing card, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we have like from the first set clearly, but like we have a couple from this set alone that just kind of blow it out. So
I just okay.
Well,
I don't think there's anything that's better than this at common at the cost.
In 5 cards, I will. In
what? When we get to
cards.
Storm Crasher, we'll talk about one that's better than this. Okay.
At common, yeah.
Okay. One last question to ask about Crafty Yeti: is that like a French bread or a carrot or a yam or something by his left knee or by his right knee on the left? Like, what is that thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's some kind of hecked up potato. It just grows like that. Maybe it's like a bread that someone has stuck coins into. Just like food is hard to draw, right? Like
yeah,
that's a thing.
That's how anime gets its money, is by drawing good food.
Draw good food.
Good anime.
Next up is Ice Bow, a regular old weapon. It's 3 for +1/+1. And when you summon it, the wielder deals 1 damage to an enemy. They throw a snowball.
Yes.
So importantly, this triggers Spark. It triggers Infiltrate.
That's maybe more important.
Yeah.
This is a toolboxy card. You're never playing it for itself.
Spark, Infiltrate, a deadly unit.
Yeah, deadly.
That's pretty much it. Apart from those interactions, I think it's pretty poor.
It's rather poor. But there are circumstances where this thing could be a blowout. They're just unlikely.
Right. You have to have a deck where you would want this. Otherwise, oh my god, it is awful. But if
your Desperado is just sitting in play, unable to attack.
Desperado is so bad to begin with.
Yeah,
like
3/2s.
He's double influence cost. And doesn't do anything when you play him. And he's like an uncommon or something. But anyway.
Yeah, I suppose.
So I'm gonna somehow you are making me jock for this Crafty Yeti that I think is just merely okay. What is this? What is happening to my life? Next up is Mind Link.
So do you want a worse card than Crafty Yeti? Because I think we found it.
Let's see. When you transform an enemy card not in their deck, draw a copy of the new card.
This is a very confusing to read card, so I'm first going to explain what the hell it does. When you transform an enemy card not in their deck, I like that sentence doesn't parse very quickly. What this does is when you polymorph or
Cicero, Rain of Toads,
unstable form.
Yeah, as long as it transforms into something not in their deck on the unstable form, because that could you just transform it into an Umbran Reaper and you don't get it.
Yeah.
But,
oh god.
What basically, I think the not in their deck thing means is that when you when you Reign of Toads, their thing, you don't draw 4 frogs with Destiny right away and draw 4 cards. But that would be
okay.
powerful.
Actually, hold on. Okay. No. The unstable form thing. No. See, again, this is why the card's confusing. What I just said about the not in their deck, that's actually not a restriction on the card you get. So unstable form would give it to you.
Yeah, and you would get the card from unstable form. The text there is just so that this doesn't make Reign of Toads into a draw 3.
I
It's
think
like
that
you
would
chose
be
your thing.
fine, though. Like,
would
what is
have
so
been
bad
probably
with
fine.
drawing 3 toads?
No, you wouldn't draw 3 Toads, because the Toads would have Destiny.
Yeah,
would
then you draw
the
3
Toads.
real cards.
Yeah, you draw the
Oh.
Toads, the Toads get played,
I
and then you draw
see.
3 cards. Yeah.
That would actually be almost still not
That-
good enough to make Mind Link playable, because then you're also playing Reign of Frogs. And
I play Reign of Frogs all
So
day long.
most of the time with this card, you're getting a bunch of frogs, Destiny frogs, or pigs.
Mm-hmm. You get pigs. You draw them, too. You don't even get them in play. So, you basically have to play this with unstable form. And it's enemy cards. They have to be playing unstable form on your opponent's creatures.
that's
There are a
that's
lot of-
vaguely
lot of-
okay.
Yeah, I'm like, if my opponent plays Sandstorm Titan, I will unstable form that because it cannot get better. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, cannot easily get
Hey,
better
it could
versus-
turn into Idol of Destrin.
It could turn into Idol. Then
and
you
then you
draw
get
Idol of Destiny.
yeah.
Then you
Good
draw the
job.
Idol of Destrin. But while it's in your hand, it could actually like get health. Wait,
Yes, it could.
I don't remember how that card works because it's always a 0/0 in my graveyard.
So you could also get like you could draw. Okay, the worst case is you turn their guy into a better guy. Then you draw the better
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, in your hand or
Yeah.
deck. Okay, so
Yeah.
they get the nothing, and you could possibly have a 1/1 eventually.
Yep.
But yeah, the butchered wording on this is designed just to kill the Reign of Toads interaction.
Okay.
I kind of hate that because the butchered wording on this card makes it unreadable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a heavy problem with
Well,
the card.
if you have a magic mirror, you too can mind Link. Because like this person is clearly Link, right? Just put the cap on and give him a sword or something.
Their Link from Link to the Past that grew up. Their hair got darker. The pink. They went from pink to purple on the left there.
Wait, no, I know what this card is.
And why is
It's a
this dark?
combo with Shimmer Pack again.
So you can draw a bunch of 8-drops and have like your hand just infinity 8-drops.
Sure.
That's true. It is a combo with Shimmer Pack. Okay. Let's draw
Yeah,
more
there
Shimmer
are
Packs.
better existing combos with this.
You need to draw.
Is there something that gives you random relics? Could that be a thing?
Well, it gives your
Like-
opponent random relics.
I don't know.
Those cards might exist because they want to push this card. This might be somebody on the design team's
I'm
pet
sorry,
card.
pushing this card. This card was not
Yeah.
pushed.
No,
No
it
way.
might be somebody's pet card, and they want to push it later.
Oh, I see.
Like they design
I
cards
cannot
to go
imagine.
with this. Anyways, I'm done with Mind Link.
Okay. Next up is Skyrider Vanguard. It's a 3-mana 2/1 flyer with Spark. Your flying units get a permanent +1 power. I'm pretty sure this applies to like itself, right?
I believe it does.
So-
Yes.
At base with its Spark, it's a reckless snapper that ain't reckless.
The other thing here is that a lot of the times when you are sparking, it's gonna be because a flyer got through. You know, like that's
Yeah.
the easiest way to spark.
That's pretty good.
So it's
like
turning your
evasion
2-mana
is really
2/2
good.
flyer or something.
It's both the
Two
serpent and the warrior.
It's a Serpent's Warrior. Okay, that's okay. When Magic has a creature that like is riding something, they only count the rider. In this game, they count the warrior and the serpent, which means Crafty Yeti is the Yeti and the Explorer.
Oh no, Yeti, get out of my food. I want it, Crafty. I know you're hiding the broccoli somewhere. I'm gonna add it to the pile. Okay.
You know,
Next
yeah,
up is Storm Chaser, which is actually a good card.
Oh, this is a good card.
I wasn't trying to call this card bad. It's clearly like owl.
Eating a snake.
Yep.
This card is crushing in limited.
Yep.
Like, I have a new favorite flyer in limited. Before it was Serpent Trainer, now it's this thing.
Okay, look now this really fills out the primal curve. Before we were really hurting for threes, but yeah. Now there are a lot of ultimates that don't feel that dang ultimate in this. But this one grows up into a real owl.
Into a 4/4 is the size of an owl in this game.
So what happens when you ultimate this bird?
It eats the snake.
It's just been threatening to eat the snake up until then.
Yeah, it eats the
I'm
cloud.
gonna eat it. Yeah, I know you're gonna eat it, and I'm gonna eat it.
I'm gonna eat it.
Clockroach buff. The clockroach buffs clockroaches, not roaches. God damn it! Why was that so hard to say? Clockroach buff. Clockroach buff. Clockroach. But we'll get to that when we get to a different color. But no, Stormcrasher is fine. He's better than fine. He's good.
I don't know if you play this in.
I wouldn't. I don't think I would ever see it constructed.
The Aegis one is just flat better, I think.
Oh yeah, like if you want that 3 slot for a flyer.
Next up is Jotun Cyclops. 4 power, 2 primal influence, 4/3, overwhelm, and spark, create, and draw snowball.
Oh, this thing has overwhelm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did this thing? I think this thing didn't have overwhelm when it was spoiled.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not.
I think that pushes him over the edge for like.
Yeah, because
I kind of want to play him now.
yeah, I didn't know this guy had overwhelm. Maybe I just never noticed. This thing's really good. Before I was just like okay on it.
Yeah, I mean Jotun Hurler, I think is slightly better, but also costs 5.
I think the overwhelm kind of makes me like this better than Jotun Hurler.
The thing about Jotun Hurler is that you just get the snowball, and so on turn 1 you can have the damn snowball.
That's
on this
true.
one, turn 4 you finally get the snowball. You know, like that's. So he's not replacing Jotun Hurler in any of the decks that I have that in, but he's doing a solid job in limited. Also, the name Cyclops is kind of smack talk because he's clearly just missing an eye.
Yeah,
like,
he just
come on.
has an injury.
I see a patch right there. Like
that is so rude.
Are there? I wonder why giants have spikes in them. He kind of looks like a Yeti except for the spikes.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Yetis grow up into giants.
I don't believe that Snowball is the best way to trigger Spark, because in my mind, the best ways to trigger Spark have absolutely nothing to do with spending mana, because that's all I said the word, spending power.
Spending power.
Because you want to be able to like curve correctly and not have to spend like, I spent 8 power on my 4-drop because I had to play a 4-drop burn spell first. You know, obviously Snowball's not that. Combat is the way I think is the best. So.
Yeah.
Well, having overwhelm will help him trigger future sparks, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So this guy both benefits from and helps keep going sparks. He's good.
Next up, we have a Hearthstone card. What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
4 mana 3/3 with Aegis. That's it.
I think he's a little. Is he? I don't know how to think of this thing.
I mean, any deck that I think wants to play this guy wants to play Throne Warden instead.
Oh, certainly. I'm mostly looking at this guy for limited and trying to decide if I like him or
Yeah,
not.
I don't think so.
On the ground.
There's too much creature combat going on, you know?
Yeah. He's rather disruptive, but at the same time, he's just a 4 mana 3/3.
Right, like I don't want to spend removal on it, so like the Aegis doesn't matter.
Right? Moving on to Serpent Mount. 4 cost, 2 influence, 1/1 flying with Mentor. Serpent Mount gets the student's attack. Oh.
Oh, again, I can't understate how like when when Mentor was first shown off, like they didn't mention the exhaust thing for about like 2 weeks, and I was like, "Oh, these cards are nice."
Yeah, it's
Playing
like, play this, it pumps a thing. Yeah, it's cool.
playing with them makes a lot of them, with a few exceptions, so much worse. Like obviously all worse, but like unplayably worse.
I've liked most of the Mentor cards I've played in Limited. I haven't done many of them in Constructed yet. This one, I don't know if it, like, does it get plus power, or does it just
that's kind of my question. Is it
Does it eat the power? Does it swap the power?
I'm pretty sure it doesn't eat the power. I'm pretty sure it, like, does this, like, if you play this on a 2/2, does it become a 2/1 or does it become a 3/1?
I appreciate that they're trying to make the cards like very small text boxes and all that, but there is a genuine question as to what the hell this even does. And I'm pretty sure what it actually does is die to snowballs and Vara's favor, so I don't want to play it. This would be the worst peel of all time. Like
4 mana 1/1 on an empty board.
4 cost 1/1.
Like my assumption is that it like if you target a 4/4 with it, you just get a 4/1 flyer. Like that is my assumption. I've never played the card or seen it played, so.
Okay, the student is merely exhausted. Well, I'm never playing this card, so I will never find out.
I might play it in draft.
I'll be back later. Play any flyer in Limited.
Okay.
No matter how bad.
Next up is Skyward Seer, who can see its way to being a 4-power 1/3 with Spark. Draw a flying unit of your choice from your deck. Oh. Well now. This is super miserable unless you Spark it. Which I want to say is a lot different from the other Spark cards that we've seen.
Yeah, like a lot of the others, it's like, oh, if you don't Spark it, it's like still a fine body. This is unplayable as a, you know.
This is super trash if you don't Spark it. And, like, replaces itself with something better if you do.
Right. You're playing a, like, what, you're getting a 1-costed body and then paying 3 for that tutor.
Okay, so what if the card was like 3 draw a Thunderstrike Dragon from your deck?
Could we, yeah, I was gonna say, could we just have this without some text? Then I might, like, oh man.
Because I think on its face it's kind of poor. I don't know how good a flying unit would have to be before I'm enthusiastic about tutoring for it. And spending this much to do it.
Probably the one you just said.
Probably it would have to be Thunderstrike Dragon, right? Like, let's be real. We're not getting the owl. We're not getting the whatever the hell this is. We're getting the dragon. It's back there in the background.
Like, old school or whatever. I don't know. Maybe there's a world where I grab Roland's Honor Guard or something like that.
I guess you could ever make it cheaper, and then it's no. I'm gonna put this one back in the closet for now. We're moving on to Torgov, Icecap Trader. He was a Yeti, but not a Yeti, exactly. 4-cost 5/4/5. And when he hits the enemy player, draw a card, then discard a card, and he has +3/+3 while you have 15 or more cards in your void.
This is super strong. Just based on the body alone.
Yeah, he's kind of cheap beef, and then gets beefier, and also loots. That's kind of good.
Yeah, I have been seeing this card in Constructed, and that doesn't surprise me because we talked about the dearth of you know, Primal units, and this is a 4-drop that I'm not embarrassed to play.
Yeah. Man, why does he get to be so beefy?
The bear.
It's crazy. The bear. Is it the bear who is also an explorer? Otherwise, it would be a bear.
Yeah. Okay? So would we have that as explorer bear?
Explorer bear. Bear explorer. Now,
Explorer
I do have one question about this, which is, I don't think we've seen something quite like this. Right? The static effect that adds power? No, on the champions. Champions have this.
Champions have that, but have a different way of showing you that it's like some static effect that comes
Right.
on.
But at the very least, like, they can be silenced off. So if you silence this guy, he loses the power, which is unusual for an Eternal card.
Also,
Not that that makes it bad or anything, I'm just...
Right. I was going to say it's really rare for that to be on, like 15 cards in your void in a game. Like in limited, that's never happening.
You'll get there eventually if you keep looting, I guess.
Yeah. Well, your opponent will be dead because you hit them with this card.
I'm pretty confident that at some point in this guy's life that was an ultimate. You know? And then they were like, wait a minute, that just like is stupid if you bounce or recur him, and
Yeah. It's incredibly rare that this is ever the second effect, but you don't care because the first effect is
because you have the beef already.
Yeah.
Have the Earth Elemental.
So very good.
So we're moving on to Pearlescent Drake, which is a 5-cost, 3 influence, 6/3 with flying and reckless, and spark plus 4 hearts. So you could be a 6/7. This spark is almost irrelevant, right? Like he says, spark, I don't die to lightning bolt anymore.
Or anything else. Like, I don't die to Valkyrie Enforcer on the block. I don't die to... not dying to Bolt isn't irrelevant.
I get that. Compared to, like, a couple cards ago where it's like, this doesn't do anything unless you spark.
Oh, okay, that's what you mean by the irrelevant.
Yeah.
Got you. The card is functional without it in the same manner.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I would play a 6-power flying reckless, or like a 5-cost 6/3 flying reckless in any limited deck that I have, which is like, okay, yeah, you got me. But then it has another thing, okay, whatever.
Hell, I'm probably liable to, if the deck exists, like this is a constructed card I'd be willing to play, because a 5-power, 6/7 flyer, like even at reckless, or 6 powerful, 6 attack flyer, like ugh.
That's hard to beat. There's not a lot of stuff that matches up to that. Although there is more now, and we'll get to it. But this is it's honestly a little underwhelming for a legend.
Very like a lot of the legends we've seen in set 1 aren't just stat block. We have very few that are stat block.
Because it really does feel like just okay. Big flying reckless threat. That's hardly what I would consider like legendary.
Is this legendary for limited consideration then?
Probably. Because that would demolish any game of limited.
Right. Is this beatable in limited if it gets this mark off? Like a 6/7 flyer, you lose. Like,
right? Like you have the hard removal spell right this second.
Yeah.
5 cost. 5. That's disgusting for that.
Yeah, you'll make the all-out attack to get the spark off and lose like a creature in order.
I would absolutely suicide attack to get this guy, because like the first turn is he's a good blocker, and then you start beating him down. So next up is Skywalk Instructor, 5-cost 3/2 flying. Okay, which mentors to handoff flying.
I figured out why I don't like Mentor. I figured it out right here with this card.
Why is that?
We have a card called Cobalt Acolyte.
We do have Cobalt Acolyte, don't we? And this is like a super worse version of that.
Cobalt Acolyte does not exhaust my unit when I try to give a thing flying. This one does. Like, I figured, okay, I'm glad I've figured it out. By the way, if you're playing limited, even with all of me saying, like, wow, mentors, play this, please.
Yeah, it's still fine in limited, I guess. I would be frustrated.
Well, like
But at the very least, like, okay, a 5-cost 3/3 flyer is still playable, so I guess this is too.
this is not a flying Kobold Acolyte. Kobold Acolyte costs 3. Like, please. Also, Kobold Acolyte is really good at allowing you to attack for game from secret damage positions.
Yeah. This does not let you do that.
But with all I'm saying, I cannot stress how much limited these days, like draft, is just play flyers. Please play flyers. Like, do it. Oh my god, play flyers.
Boards get clogged pretty quickly in Eternal card game.
Yeah.
I don't think the new cards have changed that much. Next up is Swindle, which is a 5-cost spell that says draw 2 cards, and then Spark draw 3 instead.
Oh, it said Swindle, and I got excited that like a card named Swindle might be cool.
Yeah, but no.
So without the Spark, you're playing the world's worst Wisdom of the Elders. With the Spark, you're getting a 3rd card and making the card like fine.
Yeah.
At that.
Yeah, like 5-cost draw 3. If it was just that flat, that would be good. Having to work for it makes it a little worse. Okay, a lot worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, and okay, like the relationship between illustration and card name, fine. But either of those to card effect is just lost.
Am I stealing the cards from my opponent? Is that what the Swindle is?
But we're not. We have cards that do that. They're in shadow. It's like, yeah. I'll leave that on the side.
Yeah.
Watcher of the big ones. Oh, my rendering size has gotten rid of the letter I. Let me make this slightly larger.
Oh, that's
Watcher of the big ones. Okay, a 5-cost 4/6 that says when Watcher of the big ones is a student, play a 5/5 Carnosaur. Huh.
That's like our reason to want to do mentor stuff.
Yeah.
So is the
Why is this so large?
Why is the small child a 4/6?
I don't know.
Because clearly the Carnosaur is the 5/5 made by the.
So can you get multiple Carnosaurs out of this?
I believe so.
So every time you studentify the Watcher, you get another.
Right.
Dude.
Though you can, by design, only student once a turn because you have to exhaust your unit. But
right. So,
honestly,
really, the only thing I don't like about this is it should be a cheap card, right? It should be like a 2-mana 1/1 or something.
You know what card this reminds me of? Pillar of Amar?
Pillar of Amar.
I think it's Pillar of Amar, a 7-costing time card.
Oh, the 5/5? That's like you get a 5/5 every time you play a power?
This is the same card as that. Once a turn, by doing a thing, you get a 5/5. This one just happens to cost 2 less and therefore is legendary.
Yeah. So I think I would mainline it in any limited deck and
yeah.
not bother in constructed, because what the heck. This is weird. I never saw this card. Like, no one has been talking about Watcher of the big ones. So we're moving on to Bolt Crafter Shaman. It's a 6-cost 2/6. Okay.
Are you ready for this?
+2 spell damage.
This is basically Archmage. Though
Pretty close to a Hearthstone card.
Yeah, +2. We talked about there's a number of cards that benefit pretty heavily from spell damage. like lightning. You know, this
Yeah,
lightning
anything
stuff.
that can hit multiple targets, basically.
Yeah.
I don't think this guy is very good.
No,
I don't know how much
there's-
spells I would want to be playing. Like it, once you get to 6, you're not going to be holding up your bolt after you play your 6-cost unit.
Am I prepping this in preparation to just murder my opponent with 3 static bolts? Is that what's going on here? Like,
Maybe, but
they
like
are
if you can
crafting the
cast,
bolts.
if you can cast 3 static bolts, then you probably don't need this guy. Yeah. Maybe in the like all snowballs deck, then that's kind of cool. But and he blocks pretty well. 6 health is hard to attack through. There are a lot of like even the large pogs that you get in this game are 5 power, so being able to block that is not nothing. But jeez, he's expensive. Man, oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vara's favor for 3.
Getcha.
Next up is Cerso's Meddling, a fast spell at 6 cost that transforms a unit into a pig. This is so horrible.
This I have had to reach this far for limited removal. For constructed removal, there's like 1,000 better options. Please just like play polymorph or feeding.
Right,
time or-
like this card compared to Polymorph. So for 3 at slow spell, I can turn it into a 1/1. And that's often not good enough because it's already like wielding a weapon or something and like it's fast. It costs twice as much and the
This is
unit
much
that it leaves behind is twice as large as Polymorph.
Right, like again,
Oh.
in limited, I still played this card and like opponent plays something like Roland's Honor Guard and you need the answer and
Yeah.
it sucks that it's cost 6, but it you like at least in limited you can generally make the 2/2 irrelevant because like they're attacking with a 2/2 and it just dies, but like I'm not even like singing praises, just saying how important removal is in limited. I guess that's it. Like,
How about this? What if this cost 2, was a fast spell, and had the words "this turn" at the end of it?
That'd be extremely good.
It would be like functional, right? Because it's a trick when you need it, but it's not a permanent answer. So if it turns it into more of a combat trick and sounds more like a meddling than like a permanent.
It's just turning it into a pig. I'm back, by the way.
Yeah.
Hello.
Did I
Welcome
miss
back.
anything exciting?
No, not really. There's a card that is Mowgli from the Jungle Book. It's Watcher of the Big Ones. I hadn't seen this card before now.
It's a 7 mana common or 7 mana uncommon pushed down 2 cost and then pushed up to legendary.
If they made this a legend? Oh.
I don't know. This does not remove the creature from combat. It just changes what it is.
It does. Yeah, it does not remove the creature from combat.
So if they attack, it gets crunched.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted this to cost 2 and transform it into a pig just this turn, but I guess they don't want like transform and transform back or.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I thought they
that,
made
then
one
it's
better.
like then when it goes back into the yard, it's like, well, does it transform back because it changed zones? Like, probably it should.
No, it should at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
That's how effects of that kind tend to work in this. Like, if something dies while it had Finest Hour on it, for instance, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you can watch the stats change. It's just never mattered. Anyway, next up is Ice Knuckle Jotun, who's a 6-cost 3/6. I guess we're edging up Spark, stun an enemy unit.
His card is very bad. Terrible.
So you're paying +2 on that 3/3
Right.
for +3 toughness and making your ability conditional.
And most importantly, more than likely turning your ability to be post-combat.
Yeah.
That's actually the killer. Ugh.
Pre-con, like being able to stun a guy and then get in might even like enable your other spark cards potentially, or at the very least like let your infiltrate work. Whereas this guy more than likely does it after you've attacked.
And because this card costs 6, like oh, just fit in the snowball. Well, now that's 7, and like we continue to talk like huger and huger for this mediocre effect.
It's hard. It's terrible. It's hard. It's awful.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kaz?
That about sums it up. You can add those comments to Bolt Crafter Shaman. I admit that, yeah, like there's perhaps a hidden upside to this. That's a little higher. The ceiling is higher on Bolt Crafter Shaman, but
If my opponent played Bolt Crafter Shaman, I would be curious.
Yeah,
if my opponent played Ice Knuckle Jotun, I would feel sad for my opponent.
If my opponent in constructed plays Bolt Crafter Shaman, I'm not curious. I'm afraid because I'm like, wait a second, what?
Yeah,
it's like when your opponent does something you're not expecting, then that immediately gives me fear. My opponent's playing Ice Knuckle Jotun. I feel bad about their vanilla 6 mana.
Well, how about an even larger guy at 6?
Oh,
who can stun a unit?
Card. No, or can stun a unit.
He can stun a unit.
They can stun a unit.
So 6 cost 6/7. Rest in peace, Boulder Fist Ogre. I will never see you again in any limited game.
Yeah.
When Lumbering Gruen blocks a unit, stun Lumbering Gruen.
You know, this card in Hearthstone's an 8/8.
Of note, this, when you block with this, it removes it from combat because it was stunned. So don't like block their 4/4 hoping to kill it, because you won't.
It's a 6/7 that can't block.
Yeah,
I think that's fine. Like I think this card is good.
I think this guy is limited playable because he's
like
big.
You get around his drawback by attacking. Come on, that's not bad.
I don't like this card, but if I play this guy, I don't feel that bad about it. But he is not great.
I wish it was more honest. I wish it was more honest, because if it just said can't block, I would actually feel fine about it.
If it stunned it after Lumbering Gruen blocks.
Yeah, that would be a lot better.
But no, I get you. I 100% get you. This card just says can't block.
Yeah. Oh my God! You play Infinite Hourglass. So he just
can't be stunned.
He has endurance.
But yeah, no. If you're playing this, please attack with it.
Just attack. You just attack. Like in a pinch, if you are going to die from your opponent's attack, yes, you can play him as a chump blocker, like effectively a chump blocker. Just
I guess.
Draw your.
And then don't attack the next turn because your 6/7 is stunned. You know, that's the killer there. Like, ugh.
So wait, though that's actually kind of interesting, right? Like if they're attacking with like 12, 11, yeah, it's something ridiculous.
He removes him from combat. So if you have like 2 of these,
oh my God! Also, he can't block an overwhelm unit.
Yeah, if you block an overwhelm unit, you have not blocked an overwhelm unit. Good job.
Like Infinite Hourglass is already okay. So if you want like a dinosaur deck and just need more, no, don't put this in a constructed deck. Oh my God!
Oh God!
There are so many better dinosaurs.
Put the next dinosaur in over this guy because he also
how about Adaptive Predator? The 7 cost 8/8 double primal with Overwhelm Reckless. When an Adaptive Predator hits the enemy player, it gets a random battle skill.
I've played this guy in limited, and he's exciting.
He's also huge.
He's very large, has his own overwhelm. If this guy gets endurance or lifelink or first strike, the game's over.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
God, could he get revenge? Is revenge a battle skill?
I don't know if revenge is a battle skill or not.
Hey, revenge tooltip.
So there's the game has 2 different sets of skills. There's like there's battle
cards.
skills, and then like
Warp.
What's the wording on Crown, on the Crown of Possibilities?
I think Crown just has skill.
It's weird. His Aegis is a battle skill. I know that because of playing Cure of the People.
Destiny.
Does Hero of the People get it off battle skills or skills?
Hero of the People gets
skills.
battle skills, which is why I'm
Okay.
trying to like find the tooltip for it. Okay, battle skills. The battle skills are Aegis Charge, Deadly, Double Damage, Endurance, Flying Killer, Lifesteal, Overwhelm, Quick Draw, Revenge. Unblockable, and Warcry. Revenge is a battle skill.
Okay.
Bam.
So like you can't get you cannot get
Like Light Force or something.
yeah, something like that.
But yeah, this guy is very beefy. He is.
Nanash, I am on vacation.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, I don't work because I'm unemployed. Hell yeah.
Oh, that's...
So
Hey, I'm going to get paid. In a month and a half. I'm going to be paid $100 American and 2 cents
it's nice.
by Twitch in a month and a half. In time for my birthday, I will be given
$100 by Twitch.
100.
Hey, wait, Revenge is a battle skill. Is,
Yeah.
what I was trying to get out there.
Yeah, but yeah, this card is the adaptive predator is just in limited. An 8/8 is effectively needs to trade with like 2 heavy creatures, not even just like 2 like bears. No, this needs to trade with like a 5/4 and like something.
This is
else.
finally a good use of Reckless.
Yes.
I've been waiting for the 3/1 Flyer Reckless. That's good. The 3/3 Lifelink or Lifesteal Reckless is sort of functional, but
There's a 6 mana 6/6 Reckless Warcry who's also
guy's
okay.
awful. He is so bad.
Brad, you think?
I think he is just because he costs so much, and then you get a Warcry, like one tiny little Warcry when your tallest unit is already on the table. Like
Yeah, he's
That's
probably
weird, man.
trading with 2 creatures.
I think he should have Warcry 8 or something, and it still wouldn't matter.
The other thing with adaptive predator that I will say is that it is very, very close to a Hearthstone card in ability, not in stat line.
Yeah.
Stat line is completely different, but the ability of adaptive predator is very similar to.
This is kind of disgusting as an uncommon. Come to think,
It's rather good.
holy shit.
I mean, I played him.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. I don't like to have a lot of top end, but if this is it, I'm in.
Okay, so we're gonna finish off Primal with throw the woman down the hole.
Into the hole.
Ice Quake, which is a 7-cost, 3 damage to each unit and the enemy player.
That's a weird split.
I
Each unit and
I
the
know,
enemy
like,
player.
I really want this to say each enemy unit, but I guess that would be too good.
They decided they didn't want Flame Strike in their game,
Right,
Yeah.
which I think is fair.
Yeah, Icequake, Huru idiom meaning throw somebody down a dang hole.
Yeah, this is another, like, spell damage enabler, I guess. And Hoozy here, I'm sure by design, still
Yeah.
lived through the dang Icequake.
That's gotta have been like the card was like a 3/5 or something in design, and then they're like, wait, can we just have this live through the Icequake because that's a curve, like 6 and a 7.
Right.
I also played this card in Limited and was underwhelmed by it, but it did win me a game.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much that does what this does
Yeah,
in a game of
sweepers
limited.
are
I think,
uncommon.
honest to God, I think the closest thing to doing this that already existed as a card was the like fast spell that stuns 2 units.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that just clears
It's
the
a
way.
similar effect. Clears the way, you get to attack, you get the extra damage through. This one gets the extra damage through by just having that damage printed on it.
Mhm. It's not great. Not a great card, but it does. It kind of does a job.
I guess you are already in the hole.
You are the hole.
You are the hole.
Yeah. You're trying to drag your opponent down into the hole with you.
I kind of
What
want
do
to
you
see
think?
what the spell effect of this look like, the graphic effect of Icequake, because they have to make one, right?
I don't remember. Having cast it,
Okay.
I don't. What do you think of this card, Jens?
It feels a little bit expensive for what you're getting, like in the sense of Lightning Storm costs 2, and then for 1 extra damage and 3 to their dome, you're paying 5. That said, like you said, this is an uncommon effect to find in the game of Eternal. So you don't see this a lot, which makes it at least like,
maybe what we're learning is that Lightning Storm is really cheap for the effect.
Pyroclasm, you say?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all for Primal. I'm gonna break the stream up, and we'll resume with the shadow cards, the mono shadow cards. I'll take care of the multi-faction stuff. And wait, do we have any neutral cards? Oh, we do. Oh my god. I guess.
Did we do Justice?
No, I
Justice
skipped Justice.
Oh.
I didn't do Justice.
Okay.
You haven't done it justice.
Okay. We'll. I forgot Justice. I'm just let's roll into Primal. Yeah.
we look, Justice.
No, we'll come back to Justice at some point.
A return to justice.
Return to Justice. I don't believe there is no justice.
No justice.
No justice, no peace. Okay. Shadow next, though.